Tim Stillman here at Arsenal Stadium, as we're obliged to call it, on UEFA match days, where a little over 2 hours behind me, Arsenal will take on Real Madrid in the second leg of their Women's Champions League quarter-final, chasing down a 2-0 deficit from last week in a game that was played on a pretty unacceptable pitch, it must be said. I think the surface behind us looking several degrees better than the one that Arsenal played on last week in Madrid, but nevertheless it was a really disappointing result, a bit of a surprising result. Arsenal would have been slight favourites for this tie going into it, so not overwhelming favourites but slight favourites, so to lose 2-0 away was a little bit of a surprise, and obviously it gives them a big task tonight. They had a really good kind of dress rehearsal here on Saturday, beating Liverpool 4-0. Liverpool, actually quite a similar team to Real Madrid, a team who are going to look to bunker in but have some big transitional counter-attacking threats. And that's what Arsenal are going to be up against tonight. Real Madrid, they're going to bunker in, they're going to look to clog up the midfield, and they've got some big transitional threats in attack, like Linda Caicedo, who scored the first goal in the first leg. So Arsenal have really got to strike that balance between chasing the scoreboard down and getting the goals they need, but not leaving themselves too open at the back to some of those counter-attacking threats. And I strongly suspect we're going to see the same team line-up tonight as we saw on Saturday against Liverpool. I really think Liverpool was a dress rehearsal for this game, and I really think Arsenal are going to look to bring the intensity and get this crowd of around 25,000 we're expecting, really get them behind Arsenal very early, and use that Bayern Munich game from 2 seasons ago where Arsenal overturned a 1-0 deficit, really use that as a blueprint, bring that intensity and try to chase that scoreboard down while keeping the back door closed. So massive game for Arsenal here tonight for a chance to go to the Champions League semi-final. It's a big task, but I think they're up to it. So kick-off, Arsenal know exactly what they have to do. They're 2-0 down, they've got a very engaged, loud crowd here behind them, and they're going to need everything. They need to bring everything to win this against Real Madrid. One interesting wrinkle, Melanie Leupolz was injured in the first leg last week for Real Madrid as a result of the pitch, and usually Madrid used to like to play 4 central midfielders and really clog that space up, and they did that very well in the first leg, but they're not going to do that tonight. They've selected Athenia Del Castillo, so they've got an extra attacker, so that's a very interesting kind of approach from Madrid, so we'll see how that plays out. Halfway through the first half, still 0-0. Pattern of the game, exactly what you'd expect. Arsenal having all of the territory, all of the possession, but at the same time Madrid very compact, playing in a bit of a 4-4-1-1 shape here that's going to be very difficult for Arsenal to penetrate. They have had a bit of a sight of goal through a set piece, a Mariona header on the back post, which she probably should have done better with. And I think what's very clear for tonight is Arsenal are going to have to be clinical when the chances come, because Real Madrid are not going to give a lot away. Very compact, sitting in that deep block. Arsenal playing well, but still 0-0. So half-time here at Arsenal Stadium, still 0-0. Obviously Real Madrid still with that 2-0 lead on aggregate, and no surprises in this half in terms of the pattern of the game. Certainly Arsenal having all of the domination of the territory, of the possession, really pinning Real Madrid back, but at the same time Real Madrid being quite willing to be pinned back and be very compact, not giving a lot away in open play. Arsenal have had a few little sights of goal, some good situations, some nearly moments here and there. Mariona with a really good chance quite early on from a corner with a header which she probably should have put away, a couple of sights of goal here and there, but also it has to be said at the other end, Real Madrid, obviously they carry so much transitional threat. We haven't seen it an awful lot in this half, but we did see a big save from Daphne van Domselaar from Philippa Angeldal late in the half as well. And you have to say, if Daphne van Domselaar was in goal for the first leg, probably a good chance Arsenal aren't chasing a 2-goal deficit here tonight, but they are. And really they need to keep playing like this, keep their patience, keep their temperament, keep pinning Madrid back. I do think the goal will come if they keep doing this, but obviously we saw last week in Madrid don't need to break through many times. They had 5 shots last week and scored 2 goals. They don't need many glimpses of goal, and Arsenal aren't going to get a lot of them either. They're going to have to be clinical when that big chance comes. But I'm confident if the pattern of the game stays like this, Arsenal can do it. But obviously they need to make that breakthrough. 0-0 half-time. Second half underway here. So at the moment, we're 3/4 of the way through the tie, and Arsenal need 2 goals to take this to extra time at least. Like I said at half-time, I think if Arsenal keep going as they were in the first half, they stand a very good chance. Obviously, when the first goal comes, if it comes, will be very, very critical. Any time before about the 80th minute, and it's all on. But we know what Real Madrid are going to do. They're going to sit off in that shape. They're going to be compact. Wouldn't mind betting that the physio will be on a few times in the second half. So Arsenal are going to have to keep their temperament, keep patient, and keep pushing. But there we go, exactly what the doctor ordered. 40 seconds into the second half, Alessia Russo has scored and half the deficit. Brilliant dribble from Caitlin Ford, going around 3 players, putting the ball wide to Chloe Kelly, and her crosses have been so menacing all evening. Arsenal have really needed to get contact on one of them. Cross from Kelly to the back post. Russo's there to toe it in on the back post. Short VAR check, but it's 2-1 and it's game on. Within less than 4 minutes of the second half, and it's another peach of a delivery from Chloe Kelly, and it's Mariana, as you can hear, the ex-Barcelona player, runs into the box, heads it in under Misa Rodriguez. It's 2-2 and it's definitely game on now. And Arsenal have turned it round. It's 3-0, 3-2 on aggregate. Clearly they had a discussion at half-time about looking to make Real Madrid more uncomfortable from crosses. Because we've had 2 goals from crosses, and this one's from a set piece. So Katie McCabe hooks the ball into the area, and Real Madrid have not looked comfortable all night when that ball's gone into the air from wide positions. Steph Catley challenges for the knockdown. It comes down to Alessia Russo, fires it into the roof of the net. Arsenal are 3-2 up on aggregate. So halfway through the second half, it's quite interesting now how this game develops, because Arsenal have all the goals that they need at the moment. At the moment, the pattern of the game hasn't changed. Arsenal still dominating territory and possession, but unless they get a 4th goal, it'd be interesting to see how that develops in the next 10 minutes or so, because Real Madrid are really going to have to come out and find an equaliser, which they haven't really done yet. And then there's a difficult kind of psychological balance to strike between going for that 4th goal, protecting what you've got. So at the moment, the game pretty much still in the same pattern, Arsenal under control, but I'm looking at how that might evolve in the next 10 minutes or so. Still 3-0 Arsenal, 3-2 on aggregate. Well, incredibly strange. It's not 4-2. Alessia Russo's goal is ruled out a good 2 minutes after it's been scored. In fact, kickoff was taken before the referee realised that the VAR had ruled it out for offside. Very bizarre moment, but it's still 3-2 to Arsenal. 22,517. Thank you for your magnificent support. 6 minutes. probably guessed, the historic night here in North London for Arsenal. They've overturned the 2-0 first leg deficit against Real Madrid to win 3-2. I think over the 2 legs they've thoroughly deserved to win. But of course at half-time it's still 0-0, they're still chasing down the scoreboard, but Arsenal clearly had a plan to expose Real Madrid with crosses into the area and make them uncomfortable, and we saw some good deliveries in the first half, particularly from Chloe Kelly, but Arsenal really ramped that up in the second half. They scored twice in the first 4 minutes of the half, both from Chloe Kelly crosses from the right. Third goal from a Katie McCabe set piece, which Alessia Russo scores. Russo has 2 goals disallowed, both from crosses from the right-hand side. It's so clear that Arsenal had a plan to expose Madrid there. But even leaving aside the tactical stuff and all of that, I mean, it's a tie that should have been less stressful. I do think Arsenal are a good deal better than Real Madrid, but sometimes a team needs these memories, and I've had a few of them in the Champions League, the 5-1 against Lyon, the Bayern Munich game, and this is another one that I think really fits into that good memory for this team. And they're going to play Lyon in the semi-final now, and those are going to be 2 huge occasions, and they really keep the season meaningful. So, you know, great night for the supporters here, for the players, big burst of adrenaline, and that's got Arsenal over the line. They've won the tie 3-2, and they've really deserved to do so.